right, here we are back at the Pushing the Pile studio. It is a Monday afternoon, so we just had Matt Ryan in here. Now we get the CBS lead insider, Jonathan Jones, dear friend of the program. Thanks for coming in, JJ. How you doing, man?
I am so great. I'm happy to be back with y'all. I missed last week, but hey, I'm so happy to be with you two, Kyle and Mike and Kyle.
So what is it you want to talk about today? Because I know that you've got a lot of stuff you want to unload. We're going to give you the platform to do it here today. So what you got, JJ?
Well, I mean, I think we got to start with our guy, Stefon Diggs,
yeah.
Right? Who he had that pregame back and forth with Jaguars Alexander. And then afterward, in the locker room, as people ask him about it, he's just like, I'm never the bigger person. And I so deeply appreciated and loved that self-awareness that he knows that, no, I won't be ever the bigger person. I will always stoop down to your level and perhaps even go further down. And so, I've always been kind of a take the high road guy. That doesn't make me better than anyone. That's just been my opinion and way of life on things. But Steph Diggs letting everyone know, now that high road, not for me, dog.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you want out of a receiver. That's what you want out of a football player, honestly. You want a guy that's going to go get his. And I mean, as an offensive lineman, I'll tell you this. If you do something to me, I will get you back. It may not be in the next 10 seconds, but in the next 10 plays, maybe the next 10 games, I will find you and I will Liam Neeson you. And I think Stefon Diggs is a guy that does not forget anything. And I love the quote, I am never the bigger guy. And, he's not very big, but also situationally, from a maturity standpoint, Stefon Diggs is down to get dirty, and him and Jaguars Alexander, that's just a classic skill player battle, and you're going to be jawing before games. That's why you got to separate these skill groups before games.
Well, I don't think Jair subscribes to too different of a lifestyle than I think it's a race to the bottom.
They are about that action.
You had an idea, though, to evolve special teams that we wanted to get to.
Yep.
And you got a whiteboard.
I do.
And we are going to discuss.
So I like drawing pictures. Can we get a two, maybe a two? Okay, here's what I'll do. Which camera is it? So that is the goalpost. That's what you're looking at. If you're a kicker, if you're McManus, if you're any of these guys lining up to kick. Well, I heard some people this past week talk about making the goalposts closer together. These kickers, they're getting too damn good. We got to make it harder. Well, you know what? Let's just make it more interesting, okay? Don't change the dimensions of the goalpost. Just put another bar at the top. Now you got to kick it in the square, okay? You got to kick it in the square. If you go over the square, it's between the uprights, no good. Got to kick it in the square. And also, let's make extra points more interesting, okay? Instead of going for 2 or going for the point after attempt, how about we call it and say, bank, okay? I want to hit this bar. If you hit that bar, it's 3 points. We could change the game. The future is now, old man. Get with my plan or get lost. Okay, what do you think, JJ? What do you think about this? Make it a square.
Well, I do. I like the idea of the square. You were pointing that out to me yesterday on that other pregame show. I should note that no one should be surprised Kyle Long's interested in a football doinking off of a goalpost somewhere. It's funny that you bring that up.
That's unfair.
Of course he does.
Well, I made it so in that case it would have been 3 points and we would have beaten the Philadelphia Eagles. Do you follow me here?
And so what I would say is if you could hit the top goalpost, or that top crossbar, if you will, that should be 4 points. And it should be 4 points because then you're going to get so many unusual scores. And that's going to open up scoregami across the NFL. So I would appreciate that. But, I reported last week that there was some talk in some regions of the internet that potentially the NFL would consider narrowing the goalposts. And I wrote a piece that just said, look, that's not going to happen. The crossbar, the goalposts, they are 18 feet, 6 inches wide, and they're not bringing them in. Kickers are hitting kicks farther than ever before. They are extremely accurate. But also, all of these field goals are helping the NFL in terms of points per game, in terms of coaching strategy. You're seeing far fewer punts than ever before, thank God. And so they're keeping the foot in the game. They are just adjusting that foot, right? You don't have the punt anymore. You're having the longer field goal. So no discussion about narrowing the goalpost. But Kyle, I'll be honest, I like your idea. Maybe we should have a discussion about adding another crossbar.
Yeah, we don't want to devalue kickers. We want to reevaluate how they are valued. And you can add some points in to be had with this kicking game. You know what I'm saying? It could be a lot of fun. I'm just saying. We like changes. I like changes. It's a lot of fun.
Do you think they're juicing the football? Is this the juiced ball era?
You think the football's on steroids?
For NFL kickers? I mean, people are like 59 yards now is just whatever.
It's easy peasy.
You roll it out, 59. Oh, it's 58? Okay, cool.
I think guys are so much more specialized now.
Yeah, they're probably juicing the footballs to help kickers the same way that baseball has arranged for the Dodgers and Yankees to play in the World Series, right?
Yeah. I like where your head's at there. I mean, look, guys are just bigger, faster, stronger. You take a look at offensive linemen, they're averaging much higher weights. Kickers, they're probably a little bit stronger, more specialized. I mean, you can even look at a guy like Cairo Santos, who isn't a very, very big guy, a little dude in stature, but he kicks the hell out of stuff. So these kickers are kickers their whole lives. You know, they come into the league as kickers. You know, when I was growing up, it was who's the most athletic guy? Can he kick as well? Now it's we have a kicker. Don't worry about it. Harrison Butker can make it from 60.
All right. Let's talk about some actual football stuff that may matter on the field in the coming weeks. The trade deadline. Who, in your opinion, JJ, are the teams most likely to be buyers when we get up to the deadline?
Okay, so it's easy, right, Mike and Kyle, to figure out who buyers and sellers are because you look at the teams with 4+ wins and they're likely to be the buyers. You look at the teams with 1 or 2 wins and you say, well, those are likely to be the sellers. At the top of the list for buyers, well, first of all, the top of the market right now and what everyone's talking about are wide receivers. We could talk about edge rushers, and obviously the Detroit Lions would be at the top of the list there if you're looking at edge rushers because they really don't have a pass rusher now that they began the season with. But wide receivers, those are the big ticket items. And we saw 2 of them go last week, Davante Adams and then Amari Cooper a few hours later. Deontay Johnson is the guy that I would certainly keep an eye out for. Interestingly enough, his former team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they need a wide receiver. Someone else, the Kansas City Chiefs. And so would I at all be surprised if today or tomorrow or early next week, Deontay Johnson is no longer with the Carolina Panthers? No, I would not. That would not surprise me one bit. And I would say that the Chiefs would probably be at the top of that list right now when you consider need, when you consider how he would fit the team. It'll take him a while, and Kyle and I talked about this recently. It'll take him a while to learn that offense. And so trading for him does not at all mean that you're going to be throwing to him as much as Aaron Rodgers just threw to Davante Adams last night, right? But the Chiefs know that if they don't make a move by November the 5th at the trade deadline, who are you going to get? You know, are you going to call up Julio Jones? Like, no, of course not. And so they have to make a move. They don't have any depth. Juju Smith-Schuster will not play this week against the Las Vegas Raiders. And you see that group right there. You are just praying that Travis Kelce keeps his legs, right? So they're going to have to make a move, and I would not at all be surprised if it ultimately is a guy like Deontay Johnson from the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, and to your point, JJ, that offense, while a lot of the offenses in the NFL, we run a lot of the same plays. Every team has power, zone, mid-zone, trap, wham. And if you're a football player, you understand how to do that. It's the wrinkle plays that you see with Kansas City. It's the subtle changes to the scheme that Matt Nagy, Andy Reid, and Andy Heck do a great job of keeping it fresh with. And that's why they tend to go back to the well with guys. You see guys that used to be in Chief uniforms on the Chiefs again now because they have that familiarity. To your point about Deontay Johnson, there would be a learning curve there, but I think he would be an immediate upgrade.
Are there any other teams, you mentioned the Carolina Panthers, Deontay Johnson, that could be big-time sellers? We've already seen the Browns make a move. They look like they're in move-on mode. The New Orleans Saints strike me as a team that could be in kind of fire sale mode, given what they have as a roster. Are there any other teams that may just, kind of like what we saw from the Commanders last year, start selling off parts that won't be there long-term?
Yeah, look, I would just say on the Saints, because you're right, it's just that if they do trade away some of those assets because they have already paid out so much those bonuses and the proration, and it's not going to help them cap-wise. So because that's the sort of fire that they play with. there in New Orleans. I think you have to look at the Las Vegas Raiders, right? This appears to be a lost season. Aiden O'Connell going on the injured reserve. Gardner Minshew leading the league in turnovers along with Will Levis. And they just keep getting worse each and every week. So that's a team that you have to keep an eye out for. We mentioned the Browns. There could be a Zadarius Smith, but you're going to have to send a day 2 pick for him. Elijah Moore perhaps could be one. We talked about the Carolina Panthers. Look, if Jacksonville would have lost yesterday to the New England Patriots, my goodness, I would think that there could absolutely be a fire sale down in Duval. The New England Patriots are another team that at wide receiver, Tyquan Thornton or Kendrick Bourne could ultimately be moved here in the next couple of weeks. So again, any team that's just hanging out in the bottom of the standings right now, if you have a veteran who's on the last year of his deal, especially, you are absolutely a potential seller.
Cannot wait to see who gets moved. Always know there will be some action. We'll break down it in full next week as well.